what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Like, nah, it's just me. Like, it was me and him. Like, I kind of was like, I guess I used to be more like the I like at one point when it was just like me and him. And I mean, I would just say things like back by logic. Like, it wasn't the only thing I always said was one thing. Can you need 2 girlfriends at all times? That's like how they get fucking hit. You just see the fucking veins running like put in the fucking forehead.
Perfect. All right, welcome to the Piece by Piece podcast. I'm your host, William Parham. Piece by Piece is a podcast dedicated towards mental health and helping people understand what reality will be like after you leave college, high school, academia, or wherever there's supervision for you. Today's topic we'll be talking about is, do women have it easy or are standards set too low? Now, I know that sounds a bit controversial, but we will explain along the way. Please listen as I'm joined by my co-host and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I can count, 9 lovely guests. My co-host.
Man, it's a mess out here.
Nice. And then we'll pass it around.
Stephanie.
Got Evan. Brandon.
Favor.
And then Mike here.
Bima. Julian.
Sean.
All right. So
David.
Nadal.
Sweet. All right, so thank you all for coming today. I truly appreciate it. So we're going to start with the first topic, which is pretty privilege. For those who don't know what pretty privilege is, that's when, someone who is well deemed or attractive has fair enough advantages in life. For instance, we'll take women, Steph, you can correct me if I'm wrong, whenever. Pretty privilege will be, you go to the bars, right? And women get free drinks or women get free access into the venue. That's for their looks. That's an example of pretty privilege. But the question I have is, have men been rejected or been held to an obtainable standard by women to where they've been chosen to set the bar too low and they'll accept anything that comes their way, meaning like they'll take any chance they can get, kind of like how a dog will take any bone or food you give them. Not saying men are dogs, kind of just now, but exactly, but that's what I'm kind of trying to get at. So if anyone has any opinions or thoughts, please take the mic.
Can you rephrase your question?
Sure.
Context.
Sorry. Question is pretty privilege. Women have access to pretty privilege. But, I didn't even make it a question. Dang, thank you. I apologize. What is your opinion on pretty privilege? Do you think men can have it, or is it strictly for women? And if you want to give any personal, thoughts about it, please go for it.
I could add something.
Please.
So, first of all, I definitely want to shoot down the concept that only women can have it, because I've actually had instances in my own experience as a streamer where people have called me attractive and donated money for it and given things for it. So there are guys who can have that type of bar. I don't even consider myself that attractive. I kind of just exist, and some people seem to like it for some reason. So there are instances where guys could get a benefit, except it's probably not as common because I feel like maybe women tend to be more sexualized, so people will want to give them more because they get that urge easier. It's more something in our culture, I guess. I don't know. That's my input, at least.
Well, in my opinion, not really even opinion, but from what I've observed, it's actually a lot easier for a woman to present herself in a way that is attractive to men. You'll have a girl who's on the spectrum. They may have autism. But all she really needs to do to get play is slap on some makeup and wear a tiny top and some leggings, wear something a bit exposing, and she is getting play. Whereas you have an autistic guy who maybe he's average just like the girl, but he's not gonna slap on makeup. He's straight. He's not gonna slap on makeup. He's not gonna show more flesh or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But he's just stuck, being autistic, being socially awkward, and he's not gonna get as much play as the woman would.
So from a physical standpoint, looking at looks, the more exposure a woman gives, the more advantages she will have.
Exactly.
And I feel like for men, our advantage is either facial hair or muscles, and that's those aren't as easy to get as throwing on some MAC and going to Sephora or something. Or Julian.
Yeah. So what I wanted to comment on about pretty privilege is, I think it has to be existing, because if you look at the things that men and women look for, men, what traditional men or men in general look for in a woman is someone who's physically attractive, submissive, has good morals. So I think, in a way, pretty privilege has to be existent there. And then I think, where pretty privilege gets abused is especially by a lot of these dating websites like Tinder, especially, right? It spins that because if you put like the top % of men, whether if it's through money or through looks, whatever women value of that man, they're going to gravitate towards that. And then those women that are gravitated towards the top % in those dating apps, they don't realize that that is much above the average man. Because the average man, because like most girls nowadays, you know, it's stereotypical. They want everything 6. They want 6 figures, a guy that's 6 feet tall, you know, makes a lot of money. And as a man, it can be pretty hard.
6 inches.
But those are just like a lot of, you know, big factors that, you know, that men have to meet up to even have a chance to play the game. And I think, as I stated earlier, that those dating apps have essentially spun that and have given women that privilege in a way of, you know, dating around the top 1% and not really appreciating what it takes to, you know, be you know, your average Joe Schmo. So I think, you know, the concept of dating apps brings a huge part into why many people consider the dating market to be skewed and why pretty privilege is nowadays being abused rather than it was, you know, a couple of decades ago, as Faber had mentioned. So that's what I think.
I was going to say, while you're passing, just a thought. Is pretty privilege a problem in itself now? Because now that we're talking about it, especially the use of dating apps, it's created this issue for, I don't know, men and women in terms of dating by setting that physical standard by just face value, even though humans have a lot more to bring. So, by all means, take it away.
Okay, so I wanted to bring up something called the halo effect, right? And so this is an effect in psychology where essentially, because of how a person is perceived, they're treated that way, and then they start to reflect that back onto people. So if a person looks nice, right, or you see, like, I would like to bring up the subject of, like, people who like, dress corporate, right? People dress corporate because they feel as though they'll be treated better. And oftentimes, because they're dressing that way, they are treated better. And then that then rubs off on their personality that they should continue doing that. And so they start to play a role. Essentially, this is interesting because it's like, it then means that, like, people are kind of defined by their looks in a sense, too. So, like, I want to give a statistic I saw a while back. It's like, in the U.S. population, about 14.5% of all men are 6 foot or taller. But among CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, the number is 58%. Interestingly enough, like, that shows that there is some kind of skew in terms of, like, image as well. Because it wouldn't be that radical of a difference in terms of the general population and, like, the business population if it wasn't there. So I think it does exist for men, but it on a set of other requirements.
Yeah, because on a certain level, aesthetic almost equals marketability, you know? So, like, if pretty privilege didn't exist, you know, companies would have to change their entire marketing strategy. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's not necessarily a bad thing, and in some cases it can be really profitable for those who want to leverage that fact.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, pretty privilege indefinitely exists. I feel like the thing is, it isn't a law. I feel like the concept of pretty privilege, definitely there are people who will give more to someone they find more attractive. But there's also going to be a lot of people in my own life that I come in contact with who also don't fall for something such as that. So there is, I assume, the concept is, of course it exists, but it's not the natural law of everyone follows. And of course it's going to have situations like with the businesses. And of course, with that height, people are also more likely to be taken seriously. There's a lot of statistics with that. So of course that is, I don't think the concept of if it exists should be the argument, but more if it is abused, which even then, I mean, it's just in its own neck of the woods, it is abused, but there's also places where it isn't. I don't know, kind of just talked in a circle there, but yeah, who wants a mic?
I was just thinking though, like, in a sense, humans move somewhat like a market, like an economic market. So how could it really be abused if society just lets it happen?
Sorry, you're asking if, like, how is it abused?
Like, how,
Yeah. How could it be
society
abused?
allows it to happen?
Yeah, because if anything, society should self-regulate itself. So how can it really be abused in that regard?
I feel like the
I think when you mean, like, how can it be abused, like, how can pretty privilege be abused? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
if society's allowing it, like, there's not saying there's nothing wrong with it.
I mean, I would say pretty privilege, like, I'm not gonna say it's not like a problem for men, but I feel like it might be a problem for like more like average looking women. Cause like sometimes like, all the pretty girls would take like most of the guys, you know what I'm saying, in a certain situation. But that's if they give that guy a chance type stuff. So, I digress,
What would
but
be, like, an average looking woman?
bro, just look outside. Like, like just like I don't know, like an example, like, you know what I'm saying? You gotta be like honest. Like, I mean, no, I'm not throwing any shade, but like most people are average looking. Like, it's just how it works.
You know what's interesting?
No, I would say so with the like pretty privilege. I feel like female streamers and stuff like the really well-known ones. I feel like that's kind of like an abuse of power sometimes because you see them like not abuse of power. Let me digress that. They just be getting like so much money just for looking the way they are. You know what I'm saying? But at this, like honestly, I've never watched streams. Like I think I watched like one streamer once, and it was like some chick. But then I was just like, I don't know. After 10 minutes, I was like, I couldn't because I was entertained. So there's that.
I could actually give input on that since that's kind of my neck of the woods with the internet. There is definitely that's actually falling off. There is definitely should this stay on?
Yeah, just snap it right on.
I'll clip it on there. Okay. Get on there. Okay, cool. Anyway, so there definitely is a benefit to looking attractive when being a streamer because, of course, your body and your face is the thing you're selling to people. But there's also the whole concept of there is like tens of thousands of female streamers on the site, and a lot of them are unsuccessful because there is other elements to consider. Like Alinity, who is who is the one, starts with an A, redhead, I don't remember, whatever.
Oh, I know you're
Amaranth. Yeah, which actually she was recently banned from the site just like a day ago. Yeah,
Makes sense.
she's second ban.
What you mean makes sense?
But like things like her, I don't watch her streams, but I've seen other streamers who talk about who are friends with her, and they talk about how like certain streamers sometimes they have to have a fallback of like being also kind of funny. You need that personality. Like there are attractive female streamers who go nowhere, and then there's attractive female streamers who also use a good personality and combine that to build. So of course it adds privilege, but at the same time it needs to be coupled with something. It can't just alone, like you can't just have big booba and be like, oh, I'm gonna watch this lady, because you can't watch that for 3 hours.
It is crazy because I feel like being a female, the streaming world, I feel like it is saturated mostly with guys, right?
There is a lot of guy gamers and guy streamers.
Yeah. So I feel like by virtue of you being a woman, that automatically gives you.
Of course. Yeah, the rarity as well is what makes it interesting. Because like sometimes I see a girl that's just playing a game and I'm like, I'd honestly prefer to watch that because it's really interesting. Because I mean, if you run into a girl in a game, it's just like running. I mean, it's a friend. You meet somebody.
Not only the demographic of streamers, but also the demographic of watchers. Most people who watch it are men, right? So one example, there was a streamer who was quite literally having sex on stream, but like
you talking about Kai?
You could see them having sex like in the window.
Yeah.
The window. And can anyone guess how, like, if you already know, don't say anything. Guess how much she like got suspended? Like how long?
0. I'm gonna take a week or a month.
It was like a 10-day suspension.
Damn.
Whereas you have people like Jadion, who that whole Pokemon episode, he's still banned from Twitch.
Gone.
So it's like, and another thing is that of course Pokemon, she brings in a lot of revenue for Twitch, by virtue of her being, well, of course she has an attractive personality, but also she's a woman, and she's a good-looking woman,
There's also like XQC has avoided bans due to his size as well. Because do you know XQC?
Yeah.
He's been banned a few times before as well, and he evades it. I mean, of course, what you're saying is definitely has a play in it. But there's also just the size of the streamer and just the fact that it's like that site's revenue source is also something scary to lose.
That's true. But when they're okay with losing Jadion, it's like okay with losing Aiden Ross. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, like then also one thing I think Twitch has been doing terrible lately. Kai Sinat, they've been kind of Bruce drop him off. Kai Sinat, they've been treating them terribly lately. Kai's back now and he's been streaming again, but like then they just banned Bruce drop him off again, which is one of Kai's friends. Yeah. But they just banned him a month ago, and it's like Twitch, you have Kick now. Like there's competition. You need to actually be smart with your decisions here because like I like Twitch and I prefer to stay on that site over something like Kick, but I prefer if they made good decisions and didn't do stupid things. So yeah,
that's facts.
Go ahead.
I mean, there's also the sense of like brand image there. So they're probably trying to play the long-term game, because like if you're talking about just like general like money now, right? You may make money now, and it'll be nice up to a certain point. But if a company sees that eventually people are going to start turning on them, their brand image is going to go down. They're going to try and get rid of this a problem preemptively, so that eventually they can return to whatever former state they were, because they think that they're probably going to be able to fill a hole that streamer has there. So that's why they're making those bets. But at the same time, it's not exactly a very smart play as to how your company looks as well. I mean, there's always going to be some form of negative feedback no matter what you do, but it's just a matter of like risk management for them.
So it's just they're trying to. I learned this in class today, so I'm using this religiously. Avoidance motivation, like you want to kind of go towards not causing any problems. You want to avoid as many like issues that might be created as possible.
Yes.
And still have like the best outcome.
They
Yes.
want advertisers to pay the site, and advertisers are less likely to pay a site
That has
if
all this
they're
explicit.
a mess. Yeah.
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 But back to the topic, I did want to give another example of like how nightclubs work, right? For those who don't really know, a lot of what nightclub owners will do is they'll pack their nightclubs with women.
Wait, before you say it, wait, can I just say like moving on to the next?
Go ahead, yeah.
All right. The differences, because now it's a perfect segue. What are the different privileges men and women have? And you're starting off with the nightclub,
Yeah.
which is perfect.
They'll pack their nightclubs with women, or they'll make it free for women, right? But what does that do? That attracts men who
Brings
will
it
come
in.
and will pay.
It's
Right.
also, I feel like the men also have a bit of blame with that
Yeah,
too.
that's
Because
true.
like they're the ones going like, booba, oh, take my money. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah,
It's all marketing.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
if anything, it's almost like
Absolutely.
objectifying women, using them as marketing like
Absolutely.
objects.
But my thing is, it takes a very strong woman to put herself into that scenario.
That is true.
A very submissive, a very feeble, shy, I'm going to say it, weak woman is not going to want to do that for herself. Whether she is getting paid a large amount of money, if she does not have the confidence, if she does not have the personality to be in that situation where you are going to be objectified, she has to be okay with it. She has to be confident in herself. She's not going to put herself through that, period. I don't care how much money it is.
I don't think it takes a strong woman to go to any club.
Wait. Can you
It takes a strong woman to deal with all the men in the club.
That's true. I don't want to make it a joke, but like the comparison here is like being a worker in the club could be just as well or hard as like a professional athlete. Because at that point, you're just wanted for your body and what you can do. And you can't perform well on the field or like on the court or wherever you are, like you're getting booted and replaced by someone else.
Don't you think like they know that like that's the atmosphere they're going to?
Yeah, they
Like,
know that, and it's the same
but
for
you're
women.
going to the club, you know what I'm saying?
I'm saying it's a comparison. Yeah, like
Yeah.
her workplace is like the same as the field. She'll be watched by thousands, 10,000s, I'm not saying millions. I don't know what club fits a million. But you know what I'm saying. She's gonna have eyes on her for performing, for doing a task that she's being paid to do, just like
And
athletes.
you need to be perfect all the time.
There you go.
And if you're not,
That is so
you lose.
much mental strain
I would say
on a person.
No, I would say because I'm a bartender, so like my female coworkers, since I'm a bartender and like I bartend at clubs in DC and stuff, no, that's for sure. Like that, they gotta be nice no matter what. Of course, there's like drunk assholes that just kind of ruin the mood, you know. But I would say that there is definitely more. Like they gotta be more mentally aware, I guess, when they're like, especially in bartending or being bottle girl, you know, in places like DC, like. Because I know what you mean. Because you said it takes a strong woman to work, or like just go to the club. Because I don't think it takes. Okay, to work it takes a strong woman, but like you can be like a really like introverted woman, and you can just go with like friends who are kind of extroverted, and you just go with them. Like, yeah.
I would argue that most of the females who do go to those clubs are more naive than anything else. You know, they don't know what they're getting themselves into. I wouldn't say they're like strong women, you know, like comfortable with their body, you know, like going up to this club. So like,
It can be said the same for think about NBA players, for instance. Like those are just really long, tall kids. Pause. Well, I didn't say that. They're just really tall kids. Like they're getting all this money and they're just spending it like they're like playing 2K in real life. Like they're not investing it or putting it anywhere. They're literally getting in trouble. Like I'm not gonna air out names, but like the Charlotte Hornets, like as much stuff they've gotten away with, like Jordan's got their back at that point.
yeah, but like the whole topic was about like pretty privilege.
Yeah,
You know
privilege,
what I mean?
like,
And like
yeah.
them using it as an advantage.
Right, and
So,
I was comparing like for men's side, you're saying women have like the advantage like in the club, and like
Yeah.
men have. I'm only using athletes because like that's the most easy analogy I can use. Is that they're pretty much just kids with a lot of money playing a child's game. That's how I see it.
I
Like,
feel like it's fighting
and
words, bro. I ain't gonna
it
lie.
could be, but like at the end, am I wrong? Like, I get it.
right.
If I shoot the basketball in the hoop, if I can shoot a 3-pointer, that can make me a couple million. Like what? Versus like I'm gonna go to school for 4 years and struggle. Like, come on now, think about it. Yeah, hit me, David.
I'm not gonna lie. You've been an athlete before, right? You played basketball?
I played lacrosse for 2 years.
Okay. So I'm not gonna lie. It's a lot of hard work.
Oh, I know it's a lot of hard
So you
work.
can't really like say like.
But it's still like an escape at the end of the day. Like I would rather play the sports and be in the weight room than be in a classroom learning some stuff that I might not remember next year.
At least it's a hobby.
That's
you get
true.
paid for.
Yeah. And I can do it in the summer.
That's
as well.
true, but also a lot of times when you start getting paid for hobbies, you start like not liking doing it. Like,
Oh, yeah, no, definitely.
I mean, yeah, being a
I
professional.
I get what you're saying, but like I wouldn't like simplify it to like, oh, I'm doing this for fun and I'm making millions, like, because it's a lot of hard
I can see where
work.
it comes from, but when you hit that like professional perspective, I'm gonna stick with the NBA just because I think it's a lot simpler than the NFL. Is that yes, you have to grind way harder because now you're competing with the best people in the world, but like your skill has gotten you to the point where you are a standout from the rest. So even if you don't, stay in the NBA for long, you now have options for other things, for like the G League or like overseas.
Mm,
now
yeah,
you're like,
that's facts, yeah.
you get that prestige. Like let's say I like graduated from Harvard. Oh, I got a Harvard degree. Everyone's gonna look at me differently. Versus like, oh, I went to Howard Community College, which I did, which sounded like Dragons, but like, yeah, it's that prestige that you now have. So even getting to the NBA itself or the NFL or whatever professional you get gives you an advantage, so to speak. And the same can be said for women. I don't know how clubs work or if there's prestige in clubs, but like, pretty sure if a worker is popular in one place and she works her way up, she's gonna get more and more advantages and just make a name for herself, and then it'll like trickle down if she wants to stop working there or does something wrong.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Like
Yeah.
Khalifa.
Bingo, yeah. Mia,
Wasn't she?
Mia Khalifa.
She was only,
I
but she
feel
was only in
like-
this industry for like 3 months, then she quit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and
Really?
she's
She made a name
a
for herself.
She
So
made a
that's
name
the
for
important
herself.
part. That's
Is
all
it-
you have to do.
Oh.
she's a host now for talk shows.
Isn't she trying to prevent like younger women from
Yeah,
going
she-
down that
yeah.
path?
Yeah.
Because
It's
wasn't
so
she
ironic.
like put into it when she was younger, like unintentionally? Like, she
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
want to?
Like after
She's
high
in
school.
situations
Yeah.
that
She's
she's
from
not
Montgomery
comfortable
County too. She's a
I know.
Maryland kid too. which
yeah,
is
she is from Maryland. Yeah,
I wasn't aware.
she's
of that.
a she's a Wizards fan or
Yeah, she did a lot of like the sports talk for like Caps,
Yeah.
Wizards, stuff like that. Yeah, she's from Moco.
Yeah, bro, my people were running into it.
It's insane.
Like in Walmart, like.
Does anyone have anything else to say about this?
Oh yeah, I wanted to add, right, like we compare the bar, right, or like a club to like the sports industry, but I think like the better like comparison between industries would specifically be like fashion industry versus athleticism, right? It's like it has the same grounds for like it's pretty much the same in terms of management, in terms of how people are treated.
No.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I'll see
Like-
if
like-
Steph can elaborate.
Well, the fashion industry is a little bit worse, specifically.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, it's a little bit worse because of how they treat younger people who are naive, right? But like, because in sports, they at least have the money so they can back themselves up eventually, or they could make a name for themselves. But like in the fashion industry, right, it's dominated by women because it's specifically about like the ideas of beauty, right? Women tend to be more beauty conscious than men too. Whereas like in the in athleticism in sports in general, it's more focused on like physical ability, like literal like power output and strength. And so it's interesting too because like at one point in both of the industries, it's not even about like I want to be the most beautiful, I want to be the strongest or something. It's normally about I want to win at something, right? Athletes at the end of the day is I want to win. Fashion, like people in the fashion, I want to win. I want to be the best at this. It goes beyond just I like playing the game, and that's kind of like a hard thing for most people to grasp because we see it from the outside like it's easy, but it's not.
It's not. It's definitely not for sure. But when we compare like the fashion industry or even athletics, it's still like the higher percentage. Like they've had to definitely bust their asses to quite literally get there. But for people like us, because we're clearly not in those positions, it's almost like not a false sense of reality, but more so that it's not as straightforward for us.
Yeah.
Like, for an athlete, I'll say, because back when I was playing, it was literally I go to class, I work out, I watch film, I practice the sport, and then I do all that till game day comes, and if my stats are good on game day, that brings me down to the point of like, oh, I can get first team All-American or whatever. That's like the status quo. Then life comes along the way, don't get me wrong. But then for someone who's like regular college student, you got college, you got work, you got class, you repeat, you might have some extracurriculars outside, but like you don't have you have to find your own coping mechanism, your own balance in life. Whereas like the athletes, you get scholarships, so you get school paid for, versus the college student who might have taken a loan and now have to think about in the future, how am I going to pay this off? So it's definitely a lot of factors, but I see where you're going with it, Favor. Yeah, it's definitely it's work.
Going back, comparing modeling, fashion industry to athletics, there's so much mental instability that goes into the fashion world, the modeling world. I had a small, thank God, small little spit of my life where I was in that area. It was horrible. I'm 5'10". Now I am at a normal weight of 120. Back then, it was 90 pounds. I had to tell myself, if I'm over 100 pounds, I cannot make it in my industry. I will be seen as overweight, obese. No matter how tall I am, how much my weight is distributed, if there's any little patch of skin, like if I had any bit of a stomach showing without any abs, I'm done. So just the mental state a woman has to put herself in, men included, it's so cutthroat. The top of that industry, they got there for a reason. Like you said, it's just like in athletics. You bust your ass for it. But at what cost to you mentally down the road, eating disorders, mental instabilities? Like, yeah, with an athlete, you get a large payout. If you're good, if you have a good accountant, you're going to have money down the road. Modeling, it's gig by gig.
Yeah.
If you fuck up, you're done.
No $1 million for 5 years.
Mm-mm.
Damn.
Not to mention, it's only like a very short period of time that you can actually be a model or an athlete.
Yeah.
Right now, I couldn't go back into it.
Yeah, most people have max a decade.
Yeah.
For sure. In the NFL, it's like even shorter because like you probably literally even in athletics, you're putting your body on the line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know something interesting though?
Yeah.
Like with the whole thing, like people talking about like in the West, like modeling like over here, like people like cut weight and stuff. I just want to like bring like there's parts of the world where it's like complete opposite. Like people are like, trying to like they're force fed like. They're trying to get as obese as they can because that's their beauty standard.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's like it goes both ways. So. It's crazy.
I love Lizzo.
So a question would be like, imagine if like we took away the means of getting prettier or like fitting more into the societal beauty norms, like take away makeup, take away
Remove makeup from the workplace.
remove makeup in general, like remove makeup. You know what I'm saying? Find a way to like. I don't know, but remove makeup is a big one. Like, would that kind of change pretty privilege? How much would it?
Not at all.
Because then I think it still falls under. I'll be a little.
You still have the genetic
That's
There's
facts,
primal
yeah.
factors that you look at, like
Yeah,
men
there
who
is-
are like have prominent features, so to speak, will like catch the eyes of men a lot more.
But will that-
And will stand out more? Whereas women who wouldn't, they should use makeup or something to substitute that.
My question was more. Sorry, my
Sorry, go
question
ahead.
was more of like, would the amount of women benefiting from pretty privilege increase or decrease?
It would decrease, yes.
Yeah.
So I am in the cosmetics industry right now. The amount of people, like I only have eyeliner and mascara on. The amount of women who come in and tell me, "Oh, your skin looks so great. What foundation are you wearing? Your cheekbones are so cut. What contour are you using? What browns are you using?" That's genetics. That's just how my facial structure is. I agree with you. If we cut out makeup completely and how, honestly, YouTube has kicked that up tenfold, the girls I see coming into my job right now who are in their teens, I think they're 20.
Damn.
You can't clock someone's a woman's age right now. It's very difficult. But if you take out makeup completely, you can kind of see where someone has a weaker jawline, fuller cheeks. It'll be a little easier. So yeah, pretty privilege, in my opinion, would decrease if you take out cosmetics.
Couldn't people also be using makeup to make up for insecurities, though, possibly?
Oh, yeah.
Of course, you got a face full of
Not even
acne.
a question.
Because I was gonna say, because wouldn't it be bad to get rid of it then if it's just kind of like a harmless thing to just feel better about yourself as well?
It is also
There are
bad.
benefits.
Yes.
It's just you got to take it by
It is
take it by
all about
ear.
Case by case.
It's too much or too
your
little.
confidence, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I will always tell if there's a teenager coming in who is suffering from acne, babes, you need to focus on your skincare. Stop putting on the heavy foundation. It's gonna make it worse.
Possibly your diet.
Love your skin. Diet.
Diet be playing a role in skin. No, skincare and diet goes hand in
Oh,
hand.
absolutely. It's hormones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cut cut out dairy and your acne will clear up.
Should men wear makeup?
They do.
Some men do wear makeup.
They do.
My skin got so much
A lot
better.
of dudes that do, bro. Check out.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm really honest. Yes.
So I want to add on to what he said, and what he said too about the makeup thing. If you want to remove makeup, then it's the same argument as saying, oh, we should remove like steroid injections for sport athlete or bodybuilders, because like what he said, genetic, what's it called? Golden genetic
superiority.
Yeah, there you go.
Genetic superiority.
If you think about it, like Michael Phelps, right? Michael Phelps has a very good genetics for swimming, you know. So it's the same thing as that. That's I don't know what else to say, but it's the same thing as that, you know.
You can't make up for it. You gotta work with what you have.
Some women are born pretty, and then some guys are born athletic, you know.
And then that's where I'm gonna move on to like the next segment. 'Cause that's perfect. Pain management, physically and mentally, like between men and women. I know, like from we all have mothers that I assume we all like are very close with or know. Women can put up with a lot, especially moms, and like particularly for me, like single moms, like
big facts.
That's a whole superhuman in itself. But for men, like I think we have a higher pain tolerance physically, whereas like why you see us playing like such brooding sports and like probably literally being bros, picking up heavy weight, doing all that type of stuff. But I just want to hear everyone's opinion. Like, what's the differences that you see between men and women, and can there be a balance or middle ground here for pain?
Pain tolerance wise, or at all?
Yeah, pain tolerance or management. Anything regarding pain for women or men.
Pain or payment?
Pain.
Pain.
I'm gonna say
Yeah.
one thing real quick. Endometriosis.
What's that?
That's a word.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go for it, bud.
So you're talking about like when like you can't like have kids, right? Like later and all that endometriosis. Where
I should look this up.
Okay, so coming from a woman who has endometriosis, it is literally debilitating menstrual cramps. You cannot move.
That's not fun.
You cannot eat. I have to physically burn my stomach with a amount of hot packs to feel any relief of pain. 1,000 milligrams of ibuprofen, it might help for an hour. If I take more than that, I'm gonna kill my liver. So endometriosis, it's very difficult to get diagnosed with it because normally they'll just tell you, oh, it's just cramps. Oh, that's a normal level of pain. You'll be fine.
It's hard.
It's subjective.
It's something I learned in health psychology is that it's very
Something
hard
we had to learn in
to.
PT school.
Oh, fuck no.
It's hard to diagnose pain because it's so different from person to person.
There is a reason that the pain scale is in the subjective section of a SOAP note for any medical visit that you will go to. I have a couple friends who are PTs, PTAs. Your SOAP note, it goes subjective, objective, assessment, plan. Subjective, you're asking the patient how they're doing, what's your pain like? It's subjective. So there's that measurable scale of, oh, is it a 1 to 10? Someone's 10, it's gonna be someone else's 5. But also, if you go to any tattoo artist, they'll usually tell you, like when I had my first tattoo, it was on my ribs. She told me, you sat better than any man I've ever seen. He's been complaining, you barely have anything covering your ribs, and you sat like a champ. It's all subjective, but when you're trying to get diagnosed with that as a woman, if you look at just any examples of a man and a woman going in for pain, a man could potentially be prescribed prescription drugs. A woman will get ibuprofen. I've seen a lot of these videos on TikTok. I don't have any to pull up right now. Me personally, I've always been told, oh, just do ibuprofen. I killed my liver and my kidneys in high school because I had to take 400 milligrams after every class period just to deal with my cramps. And then only make it half a day.
And I feel like that kind of it kind of evens it out because in some sectors women have it better,
Women have it better.
Yeah, in some sectors women have it better. I believe that women have it better.
For pain management.
I mean, no, I'm saying like the whole idea of pretty privilege.
Okay.
In some sectors women have it better, right? But when it comes to pain, mentally and physically, men know how to save face. They know how to be stoic about it, right?
Yeah,
but women know how to truly deal with it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, I know.
Like we won't express it.
Yeah.
But like we'll hold it in. So it's just like women will just know how to like
Yeah.
handle it.
Yeah, they'll handle it. They'll
Back
deal
to
with
the
it.
emotional intelligence, I think
I mean-
females have higher emotional
That's definitely
Yeah,
true.
but-
Like, especially like
yeah.
in terms of heartbreak, is like I feel like women just know how to deal with heartbreak better than men. Cause some men be just like, man, what the fuck, yo? Like, you just swing and like, and the girl will be kind of like heartbroken, but she's kind of like, I guess they found like way better ways to like deal with it.
You have
Cause some
3 days.
And they move on.
You have 3 have a mental state of you have 3 days to get over it. You have 3 days to mourn, cry it out, scream, curse his name, whatever. You have to get back out there though.
Love's not real, bro.
That's why this is why you need 2 girlfriends, man. Say it.
If they're good with it.
Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about like the aspect of like testosterone, right? Because it's actually a pretty big painkiller. Testosterone is the dominant gene. I mean, it's the dominant hormone in women too. So like, even though people think it's estrogen, it's normally testosterone is a dominant gene.
Yes,
I mean, the
We get
dominant
more
hormone.
estrogen when we're on our periods.
Yeah. It's a dominant hormone in women and a dominant hormone in men, right? But it's like 10 times more for men. And so interestingly enough, like people have, like men have a better stress tolerance, but at the very same time, like men can still be as emotional too, which is interesting. Men can be as emotional and they're more prone to suicide, yet women are more prone to depression, which is interesting. I mean, then again, those stats are also underreported for both groups.
I'm going
But
to add something into testosterone. Birth control is estrogen and progesterone. So we are lacking estrogen when we are going through that fucking week of hell. Actually, 2-3 weeks of hell.
dang. Wait, lacking estrogen? So that means
That's why
testosterone.
we have to take in the estrogen and the progesterone through the birth control.
So that's kind of like
regulate and everything else.
okay, so
Wait.
it's like trend cycles kind of.
Can we restate what the question is right now?
We're just talking about pain management
Okay.
between men and women, both physiologically and psychologically.
So I wanted to tie in like the overarching theme of like pretty privilege into that.
Okay.
So like he stated a suicide statistic, right? So what it really is that, as you said, men commit more of the suicides, but women attempt it more,
Yeah.
Correct.
right?
Yes.
So, and I was thinking earlier, like I was gonna say something. I was like, with pretty privilege, doesn't that make people's lives a lot harder because now they have to work towards a certain standard? And I feel like maybe one of the reasons why women attempt it more is because of that struggle, trying to get to that certain standard and be, you know what I'm saying?
You have already
Yeah.
attractive
Yeah.
girls, and you know, like they're altering their face, like
Yeah.
to make them some like.
So does that make
Fictional.
life that
Yeah,
much harder for
Fictional
women?
creature.
Like?
Fictional character.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like I stated. No, like I stated earlier, like I remember hearing like in my earlier psych classes, like some women would tell me about like how like the beauty standards like really like unfair and like they would have to work really hard to even like look like decent. I remember like I think that like I said, pretty privilege does like I feel mess up women pretty bad, worse than men. Because man, dude, if you're like ugly man, like you just got to build up in confidence and other things. You know what I'm saying? But like if you're like an ugly like
If
woman,
you're
you're
funny.
like.
That's the thing. It's like they say like I know it sounds dumb, but like someone's. I remember I had a friend say this in high school. They said like, oh, if you're a girl and you're ugly, just put on makeup. But if you're a guy and ugly, you're already taking that L. I was like, what? I was like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Because if you're a
That
guy, you can build yourself up.
That mentality is what creates incels and stuff like that on Twitter.
When he told me that, I was like,
that black pill stuff.
it's untrue because like as a man, like you could start wherever you are in life. If you're at the bottom, you can build your way up.
Yeah.
Both
I
men
feel
and
like-
women can do that.
And I feel like such an issue in male relationships and like friendships and everything. I feel like so many guys tear each other down so often with that type of stuff, and that's what causes this poor mentality and what creates so many people who are like,
Right.
love is dead. I'm just gonna hate women when it's like. I don't know. I'm just.
No.
That's. I'm not saying you're saying that. I was talking about the more extreme people, like any Twitter comment section.
Right.
So like me.
It's just like people tearing each other down.
I'm toxic as hell though.
That actually leads to
No, I wasn't saying that was your
that leads to what I was about to say next now, because want to say something, Favor?
Oh wait, no. When it comes to standards, right?
Yeah.
I was just thinking about it. Like, no one's really, like, it sounds horrible to say it, right, and kind of shallow, but people are only as good as their next best option, right? As soon as another option comes about, right, society will choose them over you, as long as they're better.
Of course.
And we have to realize that, right? And that's why we have to put ourselves to the highest degree. I don't think we should be bitter about it. I don't see the issue with that, actually, because like it's to better the entirety of the human race.
Right.
As long as you are not comparing yourselves to the top
I think you should compare yourself, right?
Yeah.
But you should be realistic about it.
Right.
Yes.
Be
You should be
realistic,
realistic
about it.
about it, right? You can compare yourself to the top, but you have to be realistic, right? Understand what you need to do to better yourself, particularly, right, in your unique set. Don't see that as the standard, right?
Right.
See that as a possible benchmark or a possible example. But you have to come up with your own example of yourself because each person is unique in that sense.
Bingo.
Otherwise, you'll get imposter syndrome.
One of the things that like you learn like as a man is you have to have like comfortability with replaceability. You know what I mean? You need to be comfortable being replaced. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's simple as that. Like you learn that very early on. You know, like most guys they'll go through that with heartbreak. You know, some other dude will come around and steal his girl. You know, it's just like wow. You know, like most guys they get hit with that harsh reality.
Yeah. And I was gonna say my mom's like, so my mom is like art teacher, so she's pretty liberal, but she always told me one thing that like she would always be like kind of like don't take women as seriously like that. Like pretty much she'll be like to not get attached to women like nearly as much because she's like literally women come and go. That's what I was always taught as a kid. And you know, like I know some people are always like, oh, you know, that's pretty much just pushing women to the side and all that. Well, that depends if you're that kind of guy that gets a lot of women. You know what I'm saying? Like most dudes don't get a lot of women. You know what I'm saying? So they'll like hang on to like that like little bit of female attention. Like I get that, but like you know, as long as I've been like. For as long as I remember, my mom was always like, yeah, don't like really trust women, like honestly.
I don't want to speak for like all guys when I say this, but like as far as like the beauty standards, I feel like girls are a lot harder on girls, like about the beauty standards. You know what I mean? Like I feel like as a dude, you know, like I'd rather have like a 6 who's like loyal, you know, like nice, like you know what I'm saying? Not nice, but you get what I'm saying.
I know,
but like,
I know exactly what you mean, bro.
yeah, she knows how to act type thing. But like then like a 10 who doesn't listen or you know what I mean? Oh, I feel like girls are like.
10 who doesn't.
I'm just saying, bro. Like like.
Because I'd rather deal with someone that's like I know what you mean. Because I'd rather deal with someone that's like I guess like average. You know what I'm saying? Because like if I deal with a woman that's considered like a 9 by society,
and she has that ego to her, and she knows she's hot.
You ain't telling me shit.
And she has guys boosting her ego.
Hold up. But you guys see where I'm going with this now? Because I said this in the beginning. This is like where we think women have set this. Well, this is from what I've said. I'm going to take the blame for this. Where I believe that women might have set a standard so high to where men have settled to like accept anything that might come their way or compromise, so to speak. That's a better word to say it. Like there's a bar that's set so high for us that we will compromise something in our preference to mediate what we want.
Agreed. That's like, you know, I've heard this analogy so many times. People like relate life to chess, okay? So like people will say like, you know, like the guy's like, we're the king, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you need to be able to sacrifice your queen sometimes, you know what I mean? You don't want to. But like to win the game, you know what I'm saying? Like other people, like I'm not trying to be subjective, like you know what I'm saying though? But like
No, go into it, please.
oh boy, here we go, bro. No, but like no, I'm serious. Like in other regard, like it's very similar to the game of chess because like the king, he also moves one piece at a time. You know, like we've talked about like nightclubs, like you know, like yachts, for example. You know what I'm saying? Like the person who like gets the yacht, like they have to go through all these hoops. You know, like they have to like. It's a lot harder for a guy to like have big accomplishments.
Kill more people.
Yeah, but then like a female, she can just put on some makeup. You know, like she's a 6. Right, BBL. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't plastic surgery some
We
muscles.
completely went away from it.
Wait, hold on.
Women, we put on makeup, we dress ourselves up for other women. I am in a very happy, committed relationship. I don't give a fuck about what any guy thinks about me, but if I see a girl, like, give me a stank eye, that hits me so fucking hard. So I'm like, okay.
It's your community.
Like, the side eye. It is.
Oh,
it is.
community.
Toxic.
Yeah.
Low key.
Like, granted, I did it today because pretty privilege. I will not put on makeup. I don't give a fuck. I don't care what boys on campus see. I don't care how I look. I'm comfortable. I'm a senior. I'm out in a semester, so why would I care what children think about me just because of my age? However, if a girl looks at me up and down and rolls her eyes, gives me a stank eye, that shit hits hard.
Regardless of age?
See,
Regardless
it's
of
like-
age, yeah.
I gotta
Aside from
piggyback
if
off
it's like
this.
a fucking teenager.
It's like,
Yeah,
with
no
the
one cares about the teenagers.
unrealistic beauty standards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the girls, they have these unrealistic beauty standards. And also, I think that what they'll do is most women, you know, they won't, you know, like admit it that other females are like being more harder on them.
Oh, we are so cutthroat.
No, but what I'm saying is they'll blame it on men, that's where that whole toxic masculinity thing comes in. That we're talking
There's
about
still a
before.
little bit of toxic masculinity, but we are also toxic. Toxic
I think you're just
femininity.
a toxic person.
Women can
I
also
think
be
you're a
toxic
person.
to other women, and that's the thing.
There's a trait about it called homosocial behavior, right? And so it's your behavior relative to your gender, right?
Correct.
So how you fit into your gender essentially. And so that's why there are these views of like if a lot of dudes see like someone that's like Arnold Schwarzenegger, we'll be like, that guy's like peak. That's like a peak dude, right? Like, right? But if we were to see someone that is like a little bit more on the feminine side, right? Like a feminine looking dude, right? We may not see that as like a dude that's like peak, but a girl might, right? And it's interesting because this homosocial behavior is meant so that you would fit into your respective groups in society. Because if you're able to blend into that group, it helps you the greater species more.
And then there is that social idea of written by a man, written by a woman.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that?
All right. So, guys, who do you think is the top ideal man?
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds does not count because he was written by a woman.
Jesus Christ.
Yes, Ryan Reynolds is written by a woman.
The concept of being written by a woman is like saying who is the author of your story if they were to describe you as a character? Who would be? That's the point though. It's kind of like someone just come making it. It's being creative.
Say like right now.
Like Brad Pitt, written by a man. Pedro Pascal, written by a woman.
What?
No. It's not having the ideal standards. Pedro Pascal is not
He's not like a
cut.
man.
Exactly.
Andrew Tate. Are you talking about like masculinity?
No. Like appearance.
Like appearance and role models. Like what
Yeah.
you look for.
Like Ryan Reynolds is absolutely written by a woman.
I would disagree. I'm
He's
a man
funny.
completely. He's
Okay, but Ryan, he is the outlier.
Masculine man.
He doesn't need to be. We're talking about like.
Exactly, he's the outlier.
Okay, well,
She's saying like what the typical like standard is, what we see like as a masculine man, so forth. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like a bunch of muscle, like aesthetics. Yeah,
yes,
like aesthetics, deep voice, all
like
that.
Mike Tyson.
Versus Ryan Reynolds.
No.
Ryan Reynolds is like the exact
Mike
opposite.
Tyson.
Yeah.
He's in shape, but like he has like.
But also,
personality to him.
everybody loves Ryan Reynolds. So he is that one outlier of men love him, women love him. He's a good man.
I was gonna say like Dwayne Johnson kind of falls like
is written by a man.
Yeah, falls in like the man's category versus like. Can you say Michael B. Jordan's written by?
Oh, he's absolutely written by a woman.
Yeah, so like Michael B. Jordan compared to like Dwayne Johnson is a good comparison. To
Michael
Both are
B.
loved
Jordan, in
by
my
both.
opinion, is softer.
I think
Yeah, they're both
He's more
loved.
charming, where woman.
I don't know.
The one from
Ryan Gosling.
No, no.
But also,
He's the guy playing. You know the Barbie movie.
slipped off, but still
okay.
woman.
That guy.
Robert Pattinson.
He's also
Woman. Written by a woman.
I think there's.
Twilight era, Harry Potter era. Cedric Diggory is written by, J.K. Rowling aside, he is what a woman would want for herself. But a man would think that Victor Crumb, sticking in Harry Potter for a hot second, just as that, like, very big, very masculine, very just jacked.
Is the evil guy.
Also,
Western woman, yes.
Okay. This is where we're gonna lead off into the next subject, because this is a perfect way of like leading this off now. This is where personality advantages, like between men and women. Like I want to know more, where, as we clearly described aesthetics, there's a feature that we all as humans have that make us stand out from the rest. So my question is, do women have more of a personality advantage than men? Or do men have more of a personality advantage than women?
You're saying if you have a good personality, you have a better advantage.
Like, yeah,
what's
if
a
you
good
have
personality?
All right, well, for me, I'll say like a good personality is someone who's well understanding, knows how to take things lightly, can always like diffuse a situation, have a good time, and never stops learning.
Is this for anyone?
Yeah, that's for anyone, like man and woman. That's what I think like a good personality is.
Because
You're saying who could benefit more from
but that's my opinion.
Okay.
But
I
hold
think
on. David's got to say
not
something.
necessarily.
It is. I would say it can be considered equal in different situations. I totally agree.
But we're talking about, let's say with the goal of like either relationship or just like thriving in a social culture.
Like in the dating scene, or
We can do dating scene or just in a social culture. Like UMBC,
I guess,
not
yeah.
how people socialize.
The issue is, right,
If you have a personality,
I
then you
feel
can be part of
like
their life.
This is such a contextual
it
question. Right?
depends.
Yeah, it's
on
such a
how
contextual question. Wait,
good you
I'll let
look.
David
A lot
talk.
of people socializing at UBC.
It's
They are.
contingent. Well, it's contingent on not only gender but how good you look in general. Like if you're like a 10, you don't really need to have that much of a personality to be sought after. And
Well, if it was two
But you need a personality to be held.
All right, let's talk
Yes,
about, we'll talk about
health,
success. Personality advantage in terms of like a success.
Long-term
and achieving-
success?
Yeah.
In
achieving
success?
goals. Yeah.
Okay, so in success,
Between men
right?
and women, by the way.
okay.
Like, this is like horrible for society, for everyone to have, right? But the people who win in society normally are people who are toxic winners, right? They're people who like to win because they're insecure about winning. They hate losing more than they love winning, which is interesting.
So you know,
Such as?
Yeah, I would
sociopaths
say that they take loss differently than a regular person.
Sociopaths will the top, level of earners. They are most of them are sociopaths. So people who they're more stoic. They're more willing to make, I guess, they're willing to make questionable decisions, and they're more numb to, I guess you would call it a moral compass.
Yeah.
They are willing to make cutthroat decisions. So like in the long term, if you want to know about like personality, people who are willing to maybe get their hands dirty, to gain success, people who are more like agreeable, they're not going to be as successful as people who are less agreeable, in the long term, especially in the business sector. You don't want to be too agreeable in the business sector.
You'll be walked over.
Yes, you will be walked over. You will be taken advantage of. You will be shysted. You know what I'm saying?
Now think about how personalities are formed. Like you don't gain a personality out of nowhere. You have to go through some type of trial and tribulation in order to build that.
To be a sociopath, but not a psychopath.
Yeah,
Correct.
psychopaths are
so
born.
for men and women in terms of like psychological pain management, when you're going through those, said trials and errors, like how did I put this together? How much pain do you think between men and women are willing to undergo to develop a good personality versus when they might, give up here?
I feel like guys are more likely
Men
to
have
create a
to.
malleable personality to fit into a situation because they feel like they need to.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Keeping on your trauma thing, I think that all men should experience some kind of trauma, growing up, and women should not.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that because like
Definitely.
I've noticed when dudes go through trauma, like it kind of like
They don't need trauma.
it kind of builds them. It kind of makes like men be like, okay, well, I know I'm not gonna do this anymore because like but like as women when they're traumatized, it fucks it up because now they're traumatized. They don't trust
It inhibits you in a lot of ways. That's really bad.
Somebody once told me that, and it was actually a girl, ironically, but it's how you deal with the trauma. I feel like a lot of times women, like if it's like emotional trauma, sometimes, maybe not a lot of times, but sometimes women can it can kind of take over them. Like maybe they'll have childhood trauma, and that kind of really shapes their personality and like what they go through now, right? And whereas you have a man, right? Maybe he won't really, and I'm talking about how they express it right now. They'll be going through a lot, but they're going to be more stoic about it. And in some cases, it's better to be stoic about it because you don't want other people to suffer because of what happened to you a long time ago or what's happening to you currently.
It's also not the other person's fault. Just because that happened to you, it's also not the world's fault.
It's very valid.
I think people definitely need to realize that because there's a lot of people, they've gone through fucked up things, and then they make it the world's problem, but the world doesn't owe you shit. Remember, it was like,
Yeah. Wait. We were talking about wait, I forgot completely. First personality, right? Specifically.
Listen.
Yeah. So I was thinking about something, right? Very unique thing that people tend to do, right? Especially men, right? It's like almost most of the examples I've seen are men. Is like they create this persona, right? It's like they literally have a separate persona for another person if they feel like they can't do something. And it's really interesting, right? We have people like Mike Tyson, right? He had Iron Mike, and then he had Mike Tyson, right? And it's not even just like it's so many boxers and other people who have to do things where they feel like they're not going to be successful. They don't have to defeat another person in doing so, right? Even like in basketball, Kobe, right? He called himself. He had like it's Kobe, and then there's the Black Mamba, right? And he had this separate personality too, right? Yeah, like a lot of people have this. All the major boxers of the 70s and 80s periods, Marvelous Marvin, he had a separate personality, right? The only person in that group that didn't have one was an actual sociopath, and that was Roberto Duran. And it's interesting, it's like, because it shows how, like, to get to the top, you really have to have this natural cutthroat personality, and all of them were also street fighters as children. So it's interesting, like, because in the long-term success, right, it means that you have to really be a competitive person. But if we're talking about success within like society, within your community, it's better to be a more sociable person, more agreeable person in that sense, and just like take your role and do it the best you can.
All right, Julian's gonna be the last person to say something because Evan has to get ready to go to class. So we're gonna kind of break it off and chop time a little bit.
Would I just say like I'm leaving, or what?
Well,
what do I say?
honestly, anything you want to say. If you want to plug yourself, thank you for coming on. By the way, we truly appreciate it. Any last comments you want to make? Like, kind of go for it.
I mean, I was happy to be here. This was really fun. I'd love to do another podcast if you ever want me on.
Yes, thank God. Thank God. Yes. Yeah, we'd love to have you on, man. I know we didn't get too much into streaming, but like
Totally. No, it's fine. I was happy to give opinions on anything. I like those types of topics. Plugging myself, am I allowed to do that? No.
Yeah, it's a podcast.
Okay, well, if anyone cares, I stream on Twitch. My name's Savarino, which with an underscore at the end because my last name's taken for some reason. And same on YouTube, same on really anything, Twitter. If anyone ever wants to check me out, it's my last name. It's Savarino underscore.
Saverino.
Yeah, Saverino. Thank you. Yeah, and it was fun being here. I appreciated being invited.
Anytime, man. All right, do you want us to give you like a send off and you walk out with like
Here you go. Here's the mic. Yeah, I appreciate that, guys.
Thanks, Evan. We appreciate it. While Evan's leaving, we're going to continue into our next topic here. We're going to get into... Ooh, this one's a good one. You guys can agree or disagree first. Let's do true or false. Women are more selective with men than men are selective with women.
True.
True.
True?
Super true.
Okay. So when I say like women will, this is an accurate statistic, but when women will go for the top 25%, top 20%,
Here, after you.
top 10, does that mean men go for the bottom 90? Yeah.
Bro, I mean, honestly, bro, men go for at this point, bro, men go for whatever at this point, bro.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'll take anything.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like what Julian said. I don't
Pass it around. Julian goes first, and we'll take opinions.
Yeah, so I think this is where, as in the beginning of the podcast, that I was saying that I'll reiterate my point that a lot of these dating apps have really skewed the market, especially for men. And if you look at a lot of other influencers, they do a very good job of explaining this, not as well as I'm going to explain it, but you look at podcasts like the Fresh and Fit podcast where you have Myron Gaines and Fresh with a bunch of Miami girls, and on his podcast one episode he explains that a lot of these dating apps, skew the power that I guess men had on women now that women have so much leverage over men. And I think all of this causes the whole imbalance that women aren't necessarily respecting men who had to work hard to get the average, whether they come from the bottom or whether they're average going to the top. And I think a very great quote that I like that was said on this podcast was that men have to create their value. Men have to create their value, and women are born with their value, because the things that men value in women are particularly most of the time they're born with, especially with how they are not naturally. I think Steph you were explaining that earlier, but I think that's just reiterating my point on why sometimes men at this point are, quote, desperate. And so that's what I think.
And I think that's why men are more willing to be like in really weird situations with women sometimes, like where they like let themselves be controlled, is because a lot of men don't really get like a whole lot of female attention. So they're willing to put themselves in these weird ass like get friend zoned more and stuff like that, and just put themselves in really comfortable situations, you know what I'm saying, that they don't want to be in. Like, what's the one thing? What's the one thing is like I was saying, like, dude, I don't care where she works at, man. She's nice, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like, I mean, no, hold on. Bro, she's nice, and she doesn't look, she doesn't look like super bad. Like, if she doesn't look bad, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have a certain preference. I just read, like, it sounds pretty fucked up, but like, nah, like, I don't know.
That's the thing with like, you ever heard people say like, men value or women value like the future in a man.
Well, women won't look a broke dude's way, so that's like a fact. That's the thing. Like we're like, unless if they got like a daddy kink where they like buying stuff for their man. Wait.
Find a broke man.
A dude for one, like a dude that works McDonald's, janitor. I'm not gonna say blue collar workers because I know some blue collar workers that be making six figures. So there's that. But I'm talking about like the dude that works at like a cell phone booth or something like that, or a dude that works at Chick-fil-A is kind of I ain't gonna lie or some shit like that.
Still working and they're not bummed out.
No, I get it, but at the same time, it's like most women, like especially when, like, bro, like a teacher, like I would say a college professor with PhD making close to six figures is not gonna look at a dude that's like working at like it's not gonna look at the janitor here, bro. What the fuck?
Let's say like men who have settled for.
I was gonna bring up something else important.
Men who have chosen to settle and not further their like careers or expectations of themselves.
Like
you'd say broke.
What do you mean?
Like they're settling. They're settling where they are career-wise. Is that what you mean?
Pretty much. I mean, like, I know how can I explain? So, say for example, like, no ambition, shitty ass job. Like that's what I'm saying. But usually people that have no ambition. I know it sounds fucked up, but like the people that have no ambition are usually broke.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. Like say for example, if like the example people say like, oh, you're 30, you're eating Cheetos and you're sitting at your mom's house smoking weed all day. Dude, no woman's gonna want that because she's like, you're fucking broke. And not only that,
that guy's a loser.
But like, so my sister always says this shit. She says she refuses to get with a man that makes like less money than her because she's like, because she literally said that she was like, he didn't come out of my vagina. So why the fuck am I taking care of someone else's kid? Exactly. She was like, that is a second son. 150K.
That's wild.
That's pretty good, actually. That's a good money.
Yeah. So what I'm saying.
Okay.
Let's just shoot it together.
I have 2 points I wanted to make. Okay, so first, right, like that statistic with the 80-20, it mainly comes from dating apps. So once more, there are more men on dating apps than there are women, which is interesting. But another thing that like we have to really think about though, right, is in the majority of humans like civilization, right, like what is it? Female mortality has always been somewhat high, right? Like all of human history, female mortality has been high. So if you're going to get pregnant, right, and you have the possibility of dying, then that means that you have to be picky. Think about it from that logic, right? Oh, okay.
No, you can finish up.
Oh yeah, but in addition with that, right? Like if you think about it, it's also a prepackaged deal, right? Like if you're a woman and you're having a kid, for like maybe you have 9 months that you're pretty much kind of, I wouldn't say useless. It's kind of horrible to say, but it's, you have 9 months where you might not be as productive as you would be, and then you have another maybe year or two, right? Including like a recovery period because of the child. So you have to be picky as a woman. It just makes sense that you have to be from an evolutionary standpoint.
You should be selective.
Yeah.
I don't want to get on top of the useless because I know a couple.
I mean, I don't want to say useless.
Degree, but
there's exceptions to everything.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, I really don't mean useless. I mean more like less productive.
Yeah,
because
we're baking a baby.
So you're saying that they have to be selective, right?
Yes.
No, I mean I don't that's actually true, yeah, because you don't want to be with someone that's like kind of like not as productive.
Who's not gonna take care of you?
Yeah.
After.
And then you have some bum's kid.
Like most women prefer not to have a deadbeat, but sometimes the cognitive dissonance is kind of like for real out here. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, but in their head they're like, yo, this guy might like they'll see the potential in someone. They're like, oh, I can see this guy, better himself. But then
I mean, yeah.
But then we have to put in the work and wait.
Then you realize it's deadbeat.
Like,
I still think that's wild though that you guys said that about the the female, like she has a job and she's making like 150K or whatever. Because you can get like a pharmacist or something, they make like really good money, and you could have like a really hardworking like firefighter, and he loves what he does, but just like knock him just because he's a.
I mean, I will say though, I do think it has to do with like a class way of looking at it. Like it definitely like a classist way of looking at it. I know what you mean, but like I'm pretty sure like I know women that make like six figures and like it's so fucked up. They fuck broke dudes but will marry dudes with money.
Yeah.
And that's how it's that concept is tied. Like I know what you mean. Like it's kind of fucked up that like damn dude, like she's making 150K, she's putting this guy that's risking his life, but at the same time it's just like I think the way like I've noticed the way women see it is like for like they see like the long game. They're like, oh shit, if I get knocked up,
will he be able to provide for me? You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying firefighter can't provide or something, but they might be stressed, especially like especially if that woman has like a certain like lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? She's already making 6 figures. She's living in downtown. You know what I'm saying? Where she's probably paying like price like 3 to 4K. Some people do it. That firefighter, bro. I mean, he's gonna be struggling. And she's gonna leave him.
I'm gonna cut things short though, because we do need to get into chop time. We are short on time, and I'm kind of low on disk space. Okay. So we're gonna get an audio clap on 3. All right, 3, 2, 1. Sweet. All right, thank you. Welcome to Chop Time. This is the part of the podcast where we kind of chop it up, talk about anything's on the table, any topic you want to talk about, unrelated to this topic. Kind of like the fun section now that we worked our way up to here. Anyone? David wants to start, so I'm passing the mic to David.
It's more of a question. Okay. I'm not for hogging the mic today.
You're good.
But what's your name?
Stephanie.
So what would your advice be for the more shy men and watching? How would they approach a woman that they've been eyeing, like that they like really?
Just do it.
Right.
Nike. Just do it. No. I have been sitting on campus just working. In this past semester, I've had 3 men just walk up to me, tell me I'm pretty, ask for my number. Confident.
What'd you say?
I told him like, oh, that's really sweet of you. I appreciate that, but I am in a relationship. But I really appreciate it. Thank you. I hope you have a good day. Because it took them so much fucking confidence. Because they're all STEM. I could tell they were STEM majors, so that ended up. I could tell. I could tell.
That is the most genuine response I've heard. Because most girls will either say, yeah, oh, I'm talking to someone, oh, I just got in a relationship. Hardest thing I ever heard was no. But then I respected it. Like,
you just have to be confident about it.
No, I mean, there's some truth to that. Yeah, like, and just like.
Just be confident with it. Just go up to her, tell her she's pretty, ask for her number. The worst she can say is no.
Let her finish talking then.
So is it okay to start like physicality, like saying you're pretty?
A compliment.
Yeah.
Okay,
I always be going at like
lick your lips. With any marketing pitch, you have got to start with something positive.
Okay, so the better question would be.
If I say a girl has a really big forehead and like it looks good.
The better question would be.
I love this.
This is a better question. All right, the better question would be, how do you not come off as like a creep?
There you just don't. Ooh, that's a good one.
Come on,
you
come down.
say it softly. You don't. I don't care. Don't act like Takai. He's not here to defend himself.
For those who don't know,
Be aggressive with it.
Yeah.
Our co-host isn't here today because he is on timeout. We currently had a dispute that I'm not going to bring on this podcast, but he is not here because of that. He will be returning.
That is kind of
And I'll deal with
that is very crazy.
But don't be aggressive about it. Just come up to her. Like, I wear noise canceling headphones, so they've stood there for a good 5 seconds before I've even noticed them. But they have had the confidence to stay there, kind of like motion at me so I can see them. But they just say it softly. They say it genuinely. They're not like, yo, you're fucking hot. Can I get your number? Like, no, they're just like, I think you're really pretty. Can I have your number?
So does it depend on the kind of guy though? So what if he's obviously like a top guy? Like, what if you can feel that he's a top guy? Does that still matter?
I don't give a fuck.
Okay, that's you. For most women.
Oh, I know. But like, still, if you have the confidence, go in it confidently. Just don't act like an asshole.
Okay. Yeah.
No, what would you say? What would you say?
I don't even know why this question.
What would I say?
Yeah.
Oh
You
yeah.
need examples.
No, most definitely like no. If you have a girl that you like want to talk to, just go like. Even if she says no, so what? They're like 3.5 billion women on Earth.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
The worst she can say is no. The thing you have to do is how you handle the rejection. That is the key thing. Handling the rejection with class.
Yes.
Because every single time this has happened to me, they've never gotten mad. They've never been like, oh, well, you're fucking ugly. Which, on Tinder, because men tend to have more confidence online when they have that wall of technology that no one can fight back at you.
It does be working.
Don't act like a prick. Just take it with grace, walk on, see how you can grow from it, see how you can better your self, not really yourself.
I say you just gotta be like, it's gotta be comfortable with rejection. To be honest,
you have to be comfortable with rejection.
The way I see it, and this might sound kind of like
like weird. Honestly, dude, I just try to be hollering as many girls as I can. So I'm gonna explain to you because I know it's a numbers game. Because at one point, like, all right, one of them's got a tug. Like at this point, like I know it sounds like kind of like, but no, it's true.
That's how
because
you have to deal
all
with
right, all the
it.
rejections I'm dealing with, I'm like, okay, damn, yo, I ain't gonna lie, like, oh, maybe that wasn't like the best way to go about it. And for one, okay, even if they see me around, it's kind of like. All right, yeah, there's only one awkward time where I can see where, like, when they talk to their friends, and sometimes, like, remember I was telling Emma, I'm like, so how come if you shoot me down, I can't holler at your friends? And she was, guys, like, that's what I'm saying, bro. Like that one guy danced with all four of them, king.
That was
king.
crazy.
That guy's a king, straight up.
You know, like there was a situation where like people we were interviewing, great guest by the way.
They
said they were at a
shout
party,
out.
right? And like one dude started dancing with one of them, but then he moved on to the next friend.
King.
Moved on to the next friend.
King.
Moved on to the next.
King.
And then all this fuck with him because he danced with all four of them. But we're just like, y'all let it happen.
Shot.
So they were all together.
He shot though.
They were in a circle. He literally just like broke
psycho.
All gas, no brakes, for real.
They'll be thinking about it though. It's gonna be.
No, they still talk about it. The fact that they talked about it on a podcast proved that they still remember that guy.
Legend.
Somewhere in Baltimore. Yeah, he's a legend now.
Baltimore legend.
Dilly
But, like,
bopping.
I like got into like sales and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah. So it's like, you know, you go door to door like trying to sell something, right? Yeah. But it's like the thing is like,
that is a sale. You're selling
yeah.
yourself.
But
Exactly.
every no, like this is one thing you got to think. Like every time you get a no, that's one step closer to a yes. You know what I'm saying? So like when I was like on my trip like with the family, we went on a cruise ship. You know, like and we went to a nightclub and like. There was girls there, right? And I'm not gonna lie, you know, I went to the club and I was dancing with the girl, right? Like I was dancing with her and stuff, and then like, you know, I wasn't feeling it, bro.
You know, you're vibing it out.
I wasn't feeling it because I don't know, her mom was there too.
Oh yeah, nah, man.
Hell, bro.
That's weird as hell.
But then,
I get
like, right after, like I went over, you know, like a couple minutes, you know what I'm saying, like. You know, like, lots of stuff's going on there.
Yeah,
but
understandable.
You rotate, you know what I'm saying? Like
Exactly.
You go different.
Dude, so I think the reason why people like freak out so much is because they think of that one girl as their only way. So my thing is, bro, so this, I guess I get this from my mom. My mom straight up was like, yo, do not, like, and this is so.
Don't idolize them.
Like, yeah, so my mom would always be like, because they could be here one day and they're gone tomorrow. And like, at first I used to be always kind of like one girl at a time. But dude, nowadays it's kind of like, I mean, they're all right, you know what I'm saying? But I'm always.
That's how we see you too.
What'd you say?
That's how we see you too.
Oh no, that's normal.
Yeah.
No, but the thing is, most dudes don't understand that. So like, I've come to terms with it. No, exactly, because that way, when that girl tells you no, it is what it is. Now I gotta fuck her friend.
If a man is idolizing a woman, like you were saying, and he is so dead set on her, but as soon as he is rejected, what was his name? Evan?
Yeah. Evan? Yeah.
That's how you get an incel.
Wait, what happened? Wait, what just happened? No,
like when a man is so dead set on a woman, like he hasn't even confronted her yet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's how you get. And like as soon as he is rejected and he takes it to the worst extreme.
No, it is different. It's because you built. No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because you build up.
You build up the expectations. Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's not, bro.
That's what King need 2 girlfriends. I swear.
Wait, can I say this? So like, hold on. So like, if a guy tries to go and talk to a girl, ask her out, or she rejects him.
Mm-hmm.
Is there ever a point where like he should try again, maybe like somewhere down the road again, or just say no?
Depends.
It depends. You have to read it out.
It really does
Okay.
depend.
Why'd she say no?
My game.
Why did you?
No, but let's say like, you know, things go well, but she just says no. But let's say like that's like time goes by, and then you try maybe like a few months down the road.
You know what I heard
Don't
before
do it
though?
immediately.
Yeah, no, not
Unless
immediately.
she gives you like a legit reason, like I'm in a relationship, I'm with someone, don't fucking do it again till like months down the road.
Right.
See where they're at.
I think I know where you're going with this though. Like, I told you this before personally. It's
Where
like,
am I going with it?
I'm just saying, I'm not like talking personal stuff, but what I'm saying is like, I've heard this saying before, like in a forest, if you say it, if you see the same tree twice, what does that mean?
You're going in a circle.
It means you're lost, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause it's like,
No, that's what I'm saying. Well, like, usually when I like deal with rejection, for one, I just take it. It is what it is. There's no reason why you should disrespect like a woman just for her rejecting you. Like no, because generally, bro, it's like you just keep moving. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know how to explain it because like then like
Because we're also in like a state of, I don't want to say fear, but also we are completely not put off in a negative way. We are shocked that it's happening.
Yeah.
We need to quickly process what's going on. And if it goes south real fast, we need to find a way out.
No, I get it because there's always the possibility of dealing with really emotional men, and like as I said, and like he might like do something crazy.
Yeah.
So,
We're
what?
always like apprehensive of what could happen.
Yeah. So back to you saying is like if a girl shoots you down, odds are there's a reason why she did it, and she just wants to be nice and not tell you.
Mm-hmm.
So with me, the way when I take, I'm like, okay, she not fucking with me. All right, let's move on.
Yeah.
Like, and the thing is, there's no harm being done. Like, I mean, I've had someone they rejected me, and then they were like. Hey, how come you don't talk to me no more?
Let them approach.
Well, here's the thing.
Yes.
So she rejected me. No, so then you move on.
Then you move on.
Yeah, so the thing is, this girl told me, she was like, why don't you text me anymore? And I'm like, kind of like, I don't even know what I said to her. I think I just hit her with one word. Well, here's the thing. If I don't, like, say, for example, if I play basketball, like, for some reason, I was like 6'5" or some shit, whatever. I don't really watch basketball. And if I didn't make the team, if I didn't make the team, why would I show up to practice?
Exactly.
So that's the way I see it. That's why, for some reason, bro, after taking so many rejections, I'm so easy of like, for me, it's not hard. But I'm like, okay, well, damn, she's not really fucking with me. Also, I know it sounds fucked up. I don't really stay friends with them as much.
Don't.
Like, no, because the thing is, no, there is no purpose to that. Like I said, yeah. Here's the thing, and so this what happens, right? So imagine if you like this girl for a while, right? And all of a sudden she's like, hey, I got this new boyfriend. Look at you, looking like a cuck. Damn, bro.
That is true. I agree.
Like, yeah.
That is the timer.
Ends on the cup.
She's pretty much gonna be fucking. She's gonna be fucking dudes in front of you, pretty much, bro. And you're just gonna have to be there, like, yeah.
Yeah. So
Deep down, you're like,
Hold your hair.
Yeah, so Mess and Brandon touched on the point that I was gonna ask. Like, with a serious relationship, can men and women just be friends?
No.
Yes
No.
or no?
Yes.
I don't know. Not in the long run, man.
I mean, like my answer is yes, but under like certain circumstances. And like
situation, yes.
What?
Like
Yeah.
respect their.
Yeah, I said yes under certain circumstances. I think like if I'm friends with a female, right, or with a woman, and like she's in a relationship, as long as like there's respect between the boyfriend and me, we can be friends, and well, all three of us can be friends. Like that's what I'm saying.
Just don't outstage.
You're just human.
Just don't outstage the boyfriend. That's the rule.
Yeah.
You can't make the
Well, that
boyfriend.
happened to me.
Yeah, you can't make the
No.
boyfriend. You can't make the boyfriend look bad. Otherwise, you
Nah.
are being like a dick. Like, literally.
Don't call him a bro. Don't call him. Oh, you're such a cool bro. You're so good for her, bro. Talking to bro.
I was gonna say, what the?
That sounds like a dude that's trying to like fuck low key. That definitely sounds deceptive.
Oh no,
Yeah.
he was using me as a
Not-
placeholder
still
for
on that,
his
bro.
then ex-girlfriend
It
because
depends.
he didn't have any female companionship or any attention. No, my friend who was actually
Oh, I was about
like
to
this to Dylan.
Damn.
Oh yeah, no, then I cut him off. He was a Pisces.
I think I know what you're talking about. Like in certain situations, like I don't know.
I know, so I took advantage of it.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I was gonna say, well, having a female friends, I guess it really just depends. Like, I would say more of acquaintances. Like, honestly, because like people will be like more like, oh, well, she can give me perspective, she can give me like perspective what this woman thinks. I personally don't think so because I don't ever remember looking at a time where I'm about to go do my thing and ask like you or anyone or any other of my guy friends, bro, you think she's hot? No, I'm gonna go do my thing. Like, so I
You don't look
don't.
for the group's approval. You
So
look for
no,
the approval.
bro, hell no.
If I think she's hot, she's bad.
First of all, fuck y'all. Y'all about to fuck her. So
Mass. Wait, Mass. Have you ever heard of the saying, you don't ask a fish how to catch a fish, you ask a fisherman how to catch a fish? Exactly. What do you think of that? What do you guys
Honestly,
think?
Yeah.
you don't even have to. You don't even have to keep them as.
Wait, it stopped recording. I am out of this space. Yeah.
Wait, let me just say something though.
The switch.
Three.
Yeah.
What time is it now?
It's 2:42. So that just cleared up now. So let me save this and 2:42.
Oh, I'm on that free. I'm about to go get some pizza.
Also, I feel like I learned a lot more than I
have a
actually
hard
like.
drive.
But like,
What?
I learned.
We got one.
Are you going to the thing?
Yeah.
I'm coming.
Okay.
Wait, what's going on?
I just feel bad. I learned more than I taught. But that's alright.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
Oh, shit, we're at.
Okay.
Yours-
This is really
There's like
cool.
tons of clips where like you see these influencers saying like.
Thank you all for listening. This is Piece by Piece podcast. Yeah.
Yo, we're closing.
I'm wrapping up because we're still recording. So thank you all for listening. This is the Piece by Piece podcast. We just finished our audio recording. Video's still going. But I'd like to thank each and every one of you for coming. There's going to be a second episode coming on at 3, which will be starting very soon. But to the audience, thank you for listening. We appreciate your support. Like and subscribe. And most importantly, you matter. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. We'll be more than happy to answer them. And you might see them on a possible upcoming episode. But yeah, Piece by Piece, episode 15. And the title is for today, hope this is right. Forgive me. Do women have it easy or a standard set too low? That might be edited, but that's what we're sticking with. Thank you.